Welcome to the League of Women Voters of Snohomish County Forum for candidates for Arlington School Board. I am your moderator, Jody Trautwein. I'm the outgoing Voter Services Chair of Snohomish League. All the candidates for the Arlington School District Board of Directors were invited to attend this forum. The participating candidates are for District Director Position 5, Erica Knapp and Ryiad Cooper. The League thanks all candidates for running for office and for their willingness to serve the community if elected, and for participating in this forum. It is the policy of the League to be nonpartisan. Therefore, we neither endorse nor oppose candidates or parties. We do take positions on issues which we have studied and on which we have reached consensus. The ground rules for this forum were sent ahead to all candidates. And let me explain the question and answer period rules. Opening and closing questions have been shared with the candidates. Other questions have not been shared. However, we have made each candidate aware of the issue areas this forum was likely to cover. And we thank all the community members who sent us recommendations about local issues. I will pose the questions. Each candidate will have 60 seconds to respond until the last question, where they will have 90 seconds to respond. And at that time, I will state that difference. We are using a countdown timer visible to all candidates. It shows elapsed time and alerts candidates when there are 15 seconds left and when time is up. Time limits on questions will be strictly enforced. When you see the timer turn red and hear the chime, you are done. I will change the starting order for each question, rotating through all the candidates to ensure a random and fair sequence. The first question will start with Ms. Knapp, and then we'll go to Mr. Cooper. So, Ms. Knapp, the very first question: what qualifications and experience make you a strong candidate for this position?
Thank you. First of all, I'm a parent of 3 children in the school district, and we've lived here for 15 years in Arlington. One of my children, he's in special education, and he has an individualized education plan and has taught me to be a very strong advocate. I've volunteered in schools, and I've taught after-school art classes and advocated for after-school programs for students when some funding was cut for those. I'm a former small business owner, and so I can use those skills that I gained in being a small business owner to work collaboratively, to set policies, and to really be able to listen to a team and form a thoughtful decision. I have skills to listen to all voices and really just advocate for students and work as a team.
Thank you. And the same question to Mr. Cooper: what qualifications and experience make you a strong candidate for this position?
Thank you. My name is Ryiad Cooper, and to be honest with you, I don't think anybody really has the strongest qualifications to be a candidate. I think our life experience gives us certain skills that allows us to perform the duties that we get very well. And mine would be, I have a great ability to organize a budget. I'm a father. My daughters went to Arlington High School. I have a good mind for numbers and figures, if not the best mind for speaking. I've got a lot of experience in the military, experience with logistics companies, organizing. I do a lot of volunteer work, local volunteer work, in and out of Arlington High School. Volunteered a lot for my daughter's volleyball team, which is a 501c charity, and for the high school volleyball team. And honestly, I'm just a regular human being. I saw a job that needed to be done, so I stepped in there and volunteered to do it.
Thank you. Okay, and now we'll move to the second question, which will go back to you again, Mr. Cooper. What are the biggest challenges facing this school district, and what are its greatest strengths?
So right now, the biggest challenges facing the school district is one of both facilities and funding. The Arlington School District is running at about a $3 million deficit at the current moment, and they are operating what's called a planned spend down. By the end of this fiscal school year, the Arlington School District will be at the very minimum of what is required by the state of Washington to run a school district. That's going to require cuts in programs. That's going to require drawbacks in service. And what that looks like to the average parent is children are going to see less involvement from the school when it comes program-wise, money-wise. We have a crisis of facilities. Post-middle school needs to be replaced yesterday. It's an aging facility, and that's one of many facilities that have to go. So right now our challenges is we have to balance our budget and we have to save money.
Thank you. Okay, and that question to Ms. Knapp, what are the biggest challenges facing the school district and what are its greatest strengths?
All right. So a big challenge right now is coming back to school and the well-being of our students. There's going to be a broad range of needs and inequities that aren't determined yet. So it's going to take these multi-tiered, systems of support to be able to support our students and our staff and our parents. And the budget is a huge issue. It's really a hard thing to determine and to figure out. I agree with Ryiad. I listened to the school board meetings, and it's an issue that really needs to be addressed. I think the strengths is I've seen a lot of adjustments in this last year. They've implemented plans and policies in support of students and addressing inequities and using data to just really figure it out to support the students as best they can.
Okay. And now we're going to move to the next question, and this will come to you again, Ms. Knapp, and that is, how can the schools best address academic and mental health needs arising from the pandemic?
I think just going back to kind of those multi-tiered systems of support, one thing that I did see in their plan that they put out is partnering with the local hospital for the mental health needs. I thought that was a good idea to bring in mental health professionals. So for the mental health side, my kids are starting school now and they're doing assessments right away so we can have a baseline of where they are academically. There's going to be such a wide range in every grade. Some students really excelled with online learning and others, really excel being in person. So just focusing on building that community that the kids need and really supporting the teachers in how to best address these issues.
All right. And we pass this question on to Mr. Cooper. How can schools best address academic and mental health needs arising from the pandemic?
Yes. Okay. So the best way to address academic and mental health needs arising from the pandemic, first of all, our teachers are our frontline workers. They are the people who are contacting the children most. They trust the children the most. Teachers are right below mom. I know that sounds crazy. My mom was a teacher. I grew up a student of teachers, and I grew up in a teacher household, and teachers are just like your mom. So they're our frontline. So bolstering our teachers, fortifying our teachers fortifies our children, and it creates that bond because they're trusted. Mental health workers are great and they can be a part of, but they can't be the full conversation because your average teenager isn't going to trust a random person that comes in. They want faces that they trust. That's going to be our teachers. That's going to be something that we start from the ground up. Academically, that again falls on our teachers. I know we're asking a lot of our teachers, but they really are our best resource and asset in that position.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, the next question combines a couple of ideas that were suggested to us. And so let me ask this. It will come to you first, Mr. Cooper. And that is, what funding challenges does the district have? And if part of that is for the need of the passage for bond and levy elections, how would voters be best convinced of that? Big question, I know.
Okay. So 1 minute is kind of not right for this question, but I'll try to break it down as quickly as I can. The transportation budget is short. They originally allotted $800K for school buses. They were only allowed to give $300K. We've got to cover the rest of that money somehow. Green busing initiatives are currently trying to be passed through the infrastructure in the Congress. So there's federal money there, which essentially would make me a primary fundraiser to go out and actually try to find that money or find a program that I could attach the Arlington School District to get that money to help cover that transportation shortfall. Same thing with facilities. Our facilities are old. They need to be revamped. The easiest way to save money is to build a green facility, not because we care about the environment, but because it's easier, cheaper to run a greener facility. There's several other budget shortfalls, but I'm running out of time. Simply put, my easiest way to tell it would be to tell the truth to the people and let them know.
Thank you so much. 1 minute is difficult. Okay, that same question to Ms. Knapp. What are the funding challenges the district faces? And if there would be a need for bond and levy elections, what's the best way to convince voters?
I think that we have a lot of financial issues. I mean, not just with balancing the budget, but also like because of the pandemic, we're facing a lot of challenges. And one thing that they mentioned in the school board meeting was kids unenrolling, which takes money away also. So that's a concern. So I just feel like with building up confidence as far as bond and levies goes is presenting it as it is. Like our schools are in trouble financially. And I know that people worry about taxes, especially when taxes are going up, you know, property taxes, everything's going up. And Arlington did have, you know, quite a push for bonds and levies, and it got turned down a couple times. So it's going to take some really creative, energetic fundraising and just to get it passed. Sorry, I'm watching the timer.
It could be a distraction. Yes. Okay. I know that was a very full question. Thank you both for all that you had to say with it. Okay. This comes to you, Ms. Knapp, as the next question. What is your strategy for working productively with your board colleagues and members of the public whose ideas are different from yours?
So it's pretty much like my strategies with working with any other team that I've been in before is, you know, clear communication and transparency is really important, and not making assumptions based off of what I'm seeing or feeling in the moment, but keeping the focus on why we're here. And that's for the students. And we all have that common goal. My productive team experience is just to be kind and professional, well prepared, and to stay engaged, and just really listen, and just viewing things from what's the greatest need, what's the most important in this moment, and just being able to give careful consideration to what's presented and making these decisions, because it's really an awesome responsibility.
Okay, thank you very much. And that question to Mr. Cooper. What is your strategy for working productively with your board colleagues and members of the public whose ideas are different from yours?
The easiest way to work with somebody whose ideas that are different from yours is to listen to them. The truth of the matter is they believe that their position has value and credit. So it's up to you to listen to them, hear what they're saying, give their positions value and credit, and then give them the respect that you would give yourself, like extend respect. Once you extend that respect and you build that rapport and you form a relationship with that person, you then begin to impart your ideas, and then the two of you compromise, because that's the essence of doing anything with anyone, is to come up with compromise that's amenable to both you and them. It's a give and take. And if you're not willing to listen, respect, and learn from that person, then you're wasting your time and energy. So my strategy would be to listen, to learn, and to respect my colleagues and have them do the same for me. And hopefully when I talk to them and they talk to me, we both listen to each other and we learn from each other.
Okay, thank you very much. And that same question, excuse me. You get the next question to begin with, Mr. Cooper. How would you balance educational opportunities among schools and among students from different backgrounds? In particularly, how might schools begin to address the digital divide?
So this may be controversial in some places, but I believe that use of the internet is a right. I mean, the pandemic has shown us that The internet is more than just a tool for people to go online and play video games with. It's actually a hard, intelligent network within our lives that gets things done. So one of the big keys is we've got to find a way to reach out to those people who don't have internet, provide spaces for them to actually use the internet, and provide spaces for them to do things that digital and online that they need to do. Whether that's opening up the library, whether that's holding after school web sessions, whether that's sending kids home with their Chromebooks and the know-how to connect them, that's something we have to do. We need to partner with our city council. We need to close that divide with our city council and actually start talking to our city government about getting broadband to the parts of our community that doesn't have it. That's something I don't understand, why we don't talk to our city council.
Thank you. Okay, and Ms. Knapp, how would you balance educational opportunities among schools and among students from different backgrounds? In particular, how might schools begin to address the digital divide?
Well, I think that, first of all, beginning with preschool, like ECAP, is an opportunity for parents to have free preschool. And I think that that is so important, where as young as the parents feel that their students can start school, they should be able to. And then all the way through high school and beyond the planning. And that is one area, especially out where we live, it was so apparent how many folks did not have high-speed internet, and how the struggle that students had to just connect with their teachers and their classmates. So, that is a huge barrier. And I do think that, connecting with a bigger part of government to get everybody internet access, that's not really something that a school can do. We have some tools that we can use, like Ryiad was saying, opening up spaces and hotspots and things, but it's a bigger conversation. Everyone needs internet access. It's a need at this point.
Thank you. And you get the first comment on the next question, which is, what are the issues that need to be addressed to provide racial equity in the schools?
Issues need to be addressed to provide racial equity?
In the schools, yes.
In the schools. Okay. So in June, the board approved an equity plan, and I was on the diversity and equity team. And so there was 8 parts of it, as far as like professional learning and development and addressing that. I was kind of looking at our demographics today, and we're, high percentage white, but then looking at the disciplinary percentages, that was the lowest as far as like expulsion and discipline. And so that is one area that really needs to be looked at. And I really feel like, again, it's community building. Like, there are so many different diverse folks in our schools, and just raising that awareness and having visuals and having books and having training from the teachers so we know how to have those uncomfortable conversations. Because I feel like a lot of people don't want to look at it, but the school is really supporting it.
Thank you. And that question to you, Mr. Cooper, what are the issues that need to be addressed to provide racial equity in the schools?
One of the simplest way to address any issue as far as racial equity goes is understanding and respect. It goes back to working with people that have different beliefs that you do. A lot of times people have racial ideas that aren't necessarily right because they've never met somebody as another race. I'm a person of color, as you guys can see, and a lot of times when people meet me, they're shocked at how quote unquote normal that I am. Just like you, I love spaghetti. I own guns. I drive a truck. I live in the country. I live in Arlington. I am an Arlington resident. I live down the street. I go to Kroger. And a lot of times what people need is to meet somebody that's like them and take away the idea of a quote unquote other. And once you take away the idea of an other, you begin to understand that your pigment is only an inch deep, or any difference that you may have. Mine is with race because that's my struggle, but it could be anything. It could be orientation. It could be how you feel. It could be any of that.
Thank you so much. All right. And to you, the next question, Mr. Cooper, what criteria should be applied when determining curriculum content for each grade level and study area?
That's simple. Does it meet state minimums is one criteria. And then the second criteria would be, where do we fit nationally? If we want to provide a top-notch curriculum for our students and we have the ability to teach that curriculum, then we should provide that curriculum. That's not super hard. We shouldn't constrain ourselves to saying we're going to teach this way, that's it. But we also should take in teacher input, because teachers are professionals. They go to school for a very long time to do what they do. Even second grade teachers, we love them to death. They do a lot of arts and crafts. They still have master's and advanced degrees. So we should also listen to them and ask them what they want to teach in their curriculum, because they have ideas and they're professionals and they do it every day. Whereas I would just be a director.
All right, and we'll move that question then to Ms. Knapp. What criteria should be applied when determining curriculum content for each grade level and study area?
I tend to agree with Ryiad. It needs to follow state standards. Of course, we'll follow OSPI as far as curriculum guidelines go. I was just writing down some notes. So I feel like it needs to be accurate and responsive, and also able to be understood from different types of learners, whether that is multilingual, whether it is a student who is blind, special needs students. It needs to fit all of those different ways that students learn. I know that I learn best reading from actual paper, and some students read better learning from a screen. So can it be, in different formats for different students, things like that? And how are students responding to it, and how are teachers responding to it? Same thing, like, is it comfortable? Is it easy to understand from different cultures as well?
Okay, thank you. And we've now come to the part of the forum where this last question is going to allow 90 seconds. Ms. Knapp, you're going to go first for this one. And this is, what additional issues or information would you like to bring to the attention of the community?
Okay, so I think one thing that I just want to bring up is that we're in a time of transition. Our district is in transition, our city is in transition, our community is in transition, our population is growing, and I see that the district is responding as best they can with these different plans for recovery, improvement, and for the students' academic and well-being. There are also the plans for diversity and equity. There's the plans for special education and inclusion. And this is all really exciting to see all these changes going on around us, but I feel like there's also a lot of anxiety coming from many different backgrounds. And people don't, change is hard. And so I feel like right now, with this change of school board members as well, I think there's 3 spots that are open. I think it's going to take strong leadership and someone who can give a voice for advocacy and also have the ability to listen and bring encouragement to that anxiety and just, I hear you, I understand. And I believe that I do have those strengths to listen and to respond to the community.
Thank you very much. All right, the final question to you, Mr. Cooper. What additional issues or information would you like to bring to the attention of the community?
Thank you. I look at things in a completely different light than Erica does. We're running at a deficit. We're running at a $3 million deficit. We have $88 million in expenditures, and we're taking in $85 million. 11% of that is taxes. That comes from you. The rest of that comes from state and special expenditure, state general fund, and special revenue from the state. So when I see the word special revenue from the state, that's unstable money. That's not money that's money that can be taken away at any minute. It's up to you and I, the parents and the community of Arlington, to fund our children's education. We have a basic civic duty to teach our children reading, writing, and arithmetic. That's the one holy, well, I would say the one commandment that we're given. I don't have a better word for it. It's the one thing that we have to do, that we should do above all. We need to build our foundation. Our children are our foundation. The buildings that they spend time with, the people that teach them, and keeping them safe are paramount. So we need to build and work from that bottom up. So we need to start with our buildings. We need to make them better, smaller class sizes. Then we need to fortify our teachers, and then we need to keep them.
And thank you so much to the audience. It's really hard to give the answers these two did during that short period of time. I commend them. They did a great job. Thank you to these candidates for joining us and for running for office. A recording of this forum and others will be available on the League of Women Voters of Snohomish County website and YouTube channel. You can find the links at LWV, League of Women Voters, snoho.org. We encourage you to explore additional information about these and all the candidates. The Snohomish County voter pamphlet will be mailed starting October 13th. Vote411.org, which is sponsored by the League of Women Voters, is another good source for nonpartisan voting information. Finally, general election ballots will be mailed on October 14th, and Election Day is November 2nd. Please vote. And this concludes our candidate forum. Thanks to everybody for listening in, and thanks so much to these candidates for giving their great answers and their time for this forum.